Buenas a todos. ¿Cómo andan? Gracias por estar ahí en este horario complicado quizás para este lado del mundo. Hoy nuestro invitado es de Singapur, así que tuvimos que hacer ahí una coordinación de horarios, pero bueno, muy contentos de que se sumen y de que estén en otro workshop con nosotros, en otro workshop parte de lo que fue y de lo que sigue siendo el curso de Intro a Layer 2 de Solow. Para los que quizás no están enterados, este workshop va a ser en inglés. Ahora hago esta introducción en español un poco para que veamos, como siempre, los detalles del curso, veamos la Solow Quest. Pero bueno, va a ser en idioma inglés. Trataremos de posteriormente que queden los subtítulos. Pero bueno, vamos a hacer ese esfuerzo por entenderlo. Yo sé que ustedes entienden. Así que, nada, voy a ir rápidamente a ver de nuevo los detalles del curso que siempre vemos. Y quiero decirles, nada, incentivarlos a que hagan sus preguntas en inglés, pero que si no pueden, igualmente háganlas en español, en el idioma que les quede más cómodo, y las vamos traduciendo. Pero bueno, que haya preguntas, eso sería muy copado. Bien. Entonces, como decía, estamos en un nuevo workshop del curso de Intro a Layer 2 que venimos haciendo desde Solow. Tuvimos ya varias clases, Intro a Layer 2 con Toño Romero, donde vimos las bases de cómo se escala una blockchain. Con Sandusky después aprendimos sobre los enfoques hacia la escalabilidad, Optimistic y Zero Knowledge Rollups. Con Diego de Criptoversidad, un gran amigo, vimos los Rollup Nodes, sequencers, provers, validators, de qué se trata todo esto, cómo esto define las condiciones de seguridad, de escalabilidad, de confianza que uno puede tener en una red, en una Layer 2. Después pasamos a ver Data Availability y Rollup Centric Roadmap con Manu Otsuka, también un tema súper interesante sobre cómo las Layer 2 consultan los datos sobre estos rollups o, bueno, los rollups que manden hacia la Layer 1, como, bueno, después esa data está disponible, sabemos que diferimos la quest enviándonos el tweet con la respuesta y nosotros les enviamos el pop, a veces más temprano, a veces más tarde, pero bueno, ahí estamos. Ahora sí, entonces vamos a hacer el switch to English to invite our special guest today. That is Igneous. I don't know if I said it correctly. Igneous. I don't know how to say
Close
it.
enough. I mean, we can make it easier. Like in Spanish, it could be just like Nacho, like because it's kind of like spelled similarly to Ignacio. So if
it's like
yeah,
Ignacio, okay. Well,
yeah,
Nacho. It's Nacho.
yeah.
Okay, perfect. So Nacho, tell us about you, about your experience, what you do at Mantle actually.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Dolores, and thank you, Solo, for having me. I'm thrilled to be here to talk about MantleNetwork. My name is Igneous Terrenis, or, Nacho, if you will, in Spanish. I work as the public liaison for Mantle. So Mantle is a ecosystem built around the Ethereum layer 2 by the name of MantleNetwork. The mainnet of MantleNetwork went live during ECC this year in on July 17th. And after 4 short months, we now have about $223 million worth of total value locked, which makes us one of the top 8 layer 2s among, everyone on the market. If you can go to L2BT, you'll see the detailed breakdown. We also have more than 150 dApps on mainnet already live, and then another 100 also on testnet. The network has just been going strength from strength, and we're very glad to see kind of like the ecosystem growing. A little bit more about me. So before Mantle, I was the head of communications at Bybit, which was one of the largest exchanges in the world. And I was taking care of our communications as well as regulatory compliance, advocacy. At Mantle, my work is basically like to interact with kind of like the public, the external parties, partners, stakeholders, so on and so forth, on the comp side, as well as just kind of like community reach out. So today, I'm just going to give a really kind of like a brass knuckles introduction of Mantle. mainly around the Ethereum layer 2 rollup Mantle network that we have built, and a little bit of other things that we're working on. So if you will allow me, without further ado, I'll jump into the presentation here. Hopefully you guys can all see the presentation. Dolores will give me a confirmation.
I think there they can see it. So, well,
Great.
I'll leave you to it now. Not sure you know, we have this workshop is part of a larger course. We have seen like the technical part. We saw the intro, like from the very basics of layer 2s, and then we got into really technical specifications of layer 2 technology. So you can get as technical as you want in this workshop, and hopefully there'll be a lot of questions from the people that are watching us. So, well, I'll leave you to it. You know, I'm here to support you in case you need it.
Perfect.
And good luck. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Dolores. So yeah, we'll talk about the modular rollups nascent event today. We'll first take a look at the first word, modularity. So what are some of the tasks performed by a blockchain? So first of all, you need to have a consensus. As we know, for example, Bitcoin, the blockchain works as a proof of work consensus, whereas Ethereum, since it's a Shanghai upgrade, now it's a proof of stake. And there are other consensus mechanisms, but basically this is one of the things that blockchain does. They have a consensus mechanism to make sure that, there's no double spending, there's confirmation on all the be them miners or validators in terms of the final state of a particular block. That also brings us to finality. Once a transaction is posted into a block, you need to make sure that it's finalized and it's added to the chain. And in order to do that, you have the execution part that is performed also by the blockchains to put those transactions in, to arrange them, to ensure that the transaction go through. And to allow everything to happen simultaneously and smoothly, you also need to have data availability. Data availability, which basically allows you to look back on different data points to ensure that everything, including block, is genuine and correct, and there's no just kind of like nefarious actions on it. So this is kind of like the trinity of trifactor functions that is performed by a blockchain. So most of the blockchains that are currently available, they are what we call a monolithic blockchain. So monolithic blockchain is like this. Well, some of you guys may have watched Space Odyssey 2001, but it's not exactly like that kind of monolith, but more like this. So it's like wood block. When you try to print a book, or with Hokusai's wood block, sort of like print, in order to kind of like print that page, how we did with wood block printing is that you actually carve the entire block. But when you actually need to change anything, it actually requires you to carve an entire new block. This is what happens when Ethereum goes through an upgrade. That is why Ethereum's upgrade takes so long to plan, and they basically need to try it many, many times, because even if they're changing the smallest thing, they basically need to change the whole thing. Right? So these are some of the issues faced by monolithic blockchains. They lack task specialization. So as we said, there are a trifactor, basically 4 items, but consensus finality can be merged into 1 item. Execution, data availability, they all compete for the same block space. In the case of a monolithic blockchain, everything goes through the same block space. Everything is competing for the finite amount of bandwidth that is allowed, and basically throughput goes down when there's a like added amount of traffic. Hard forks, as I said, when you need to kind of like upgrade a blockchain, will often takes a lot of preparation, a lot of planning, simply because the gravity, the enormity of the work. And some of the ways people have tried to address this is to use sidechains. So, for example, Polygon has Polygon POS. It doesn't actually resolve its finality on Ethereum or on other blockchains for that matter. So basically, it has its own consensus mechanism, which means it's secured by itself instead of by Ethereum itself, which is the largest smart contract platform, and also the most secure, simply because of the total value and the number of capital locked in Ethereum. Sidechains, they do have the benefit of being more scalable, and they allow the operator, the deployer, centralized control. But where they lack is security, because they're not secured by more than themselves as a sidechain. And they also lack in liquidity, simply not as many people, as many bids on a smaller sidechain. Composability, they are often a proprietary technology, and then they are often built for a specific purpose. They don't necessarily work interoperably very well with other chains, especially when you consider kind of like bridging in and bridging out. And of course, because they have centralized control, they do not often perform very well in terms of decentralization. And this year, it's slightly different picture, but for the previous 2022, every month you basically have a $100 million hack or more hack. And a majority of them are basically hacks on bridges to sidechains. The biggest to date is the 632 million hack of the Ronin bridge that leads to the sidechain, that is Axis Infinity's chain. So sidechain does have both that issue and that reputation. So here comes a potential solution, that is a modular blockchain. So if monolithic blockchain is like wood block, modular blockchain would be like movable type. So Gutenberg basically brought movable type to the West and allowed for printing to happen, printing as we know it to happen. So when we look at the functions performed by the blockchain, what modular blockchain are able to do is to separate those three into different layers, into different modules, so that you no longer need to have them compete in the same time at the same place. You're basically able to move around the space-time and then allow the optimal allocation of resources, as well as to ensure that not only is your blockchain never so stressed by the amount of traffic. When there's like when there is not as much traffic, you are also able to arrange those blocks more economically. Therefore, modular blockchain still allows for scalability, because you're able to allow for that space to be fully utilized and allow for transactions to stack up without jamming the throughput, the limited throughput, finite throughput. You also have decentralization, because all those modules, all those functions are separate and they are secured by different validator, different nodes. It has security because in this case, you are still built on top of Ethereum, which means the final state is posted onto Ethereum instead of just being a sidechain onto your own, which allows you to access and tap into the great liquidity that is inherent and available on Ethereum. And because it juggles all those different plates and then needs to work amongst themselves, it has great composability, interoperability, simply just from having an EVM environment, and also kind of like having those different modules that are separate, but they can work with one another, and then allows it to interact with various service providers, various different modules, various different functionalities. It will also allow for updates technological innovations to be adopted earlier, because even when something becomes available, say the next big kind of like Ethereum upgrade, everyone's looking toward dank sharding, which allows, is also a scalability fix, but it allows for sort of like different shards to be created so that you are no longer always competing for a monolithic whole. But that, in order for that to happen on Ethereum, it takes months of planning, it takes a lot of preparation. Whereas on modular blockchain, it's like changing a certain letter or a certain word with the movable type. You don't need to carve a new wood block. You only need to remove and replace certain movable types, which makes it much faster, much more nimble. And what it doesn't have is centralized control. So what we at Mantle truly believe is one day, hopefully soon, modularity will do to blockchain adoption what printing press did to the spread of literacy. So what did printing press do to the spread of literacy? If you go to kind of like any of the European museums or even like cathedrals, or the Kunis History Museum in Vienna, Austria, you would see lots and lots of religious paintings. In churches, you would see so many religious sort of like statues and art. You wonder why is that? Because first of all, it's propagandist value. In order to kind of tell the story to the believers and to inspire faith in them, but also because most people were illiterate, right? People couldn't read, so they only could rely on pictures and art to tell the story, and that is why you would see kind of like in say, for example, some show, you would have the entire Bible story in colorful kind of like glass panels in the church. Once printing press happened, literacy just exploded, and then number of books also exploded, because back then, before you had movable type printing press, it's so expensive that, because in order to create a book, you basically need to scribe a monk to hand copy everything, and then a lot of times those are illustrated manuscripts, and then it takes a lot of time to make art into it. Whereas printing press really would allow the base cost to really come down. So what we think will happen to modular, will happen to blockchain, is that as of now, when you look at Ethereum, when you look at kind of like a lot of blockchains, the transaction cost is still high. The barrier to entry is still high. Whereas if you have modularity and then combined with other things we'll talk about, it will really make it a democratizing moment for the spread of blockchain. So now we talk about the second half of that title we had. It's rollup. So we know, like every bull run, sometimes even during bear runs, you would still have meme coin vying for attention. A lot of NFTs, especially those with profile pictures, they are very popular. So we can see that perhaps the most scarce resource and maybe the most valuable resource in the industry is not necessarily money, because you can always see kind of VC pumping money into it. Sometimes it's not even just like kind of like development resources, but rather attention and mind share. A lot of times assets appreciate, blockchains, technologies get worked on because they capture people's imagination, because they're able to capture people's attention. And then, there's a healthy dose of speculation. Everything starts with speculation. And then when people figure out, oh, yeah, this Bitcoin thing is interesting, let's learn more about it, then you have more education, more hands-on, and more adoption. But we do really think everything starts with speculation. And when you have high gas fee, when you have kind of like that barrier up front, it really makes kind of like the first leap into participation slightly difficult. So we want to solve that with a rollup within layer 2. So what rollups layer 2 is using them interchangeably here? Basically, layer 2 built on top of Ethereum would be a rollup, Ethereum rollup. What they're able to do is they're able to be faster and cheaper than the fastest and cheapest alternative L1s. So during the last bull run, there were a lot of alternative layer 1s. They either want to be Ethereum killers or they want to be an alternative. A lot of them were accelerated by venture capital money, and then they were very generous when it comes to grants, endowments, and then they attracted a lot of resources, development resources, as well as capital users through incentive programs. But when kind of like the bull run turns to the bear run, and then VC money starts to dry up, you see a lot of those mercenary capital depart, because they were only here for the money, the incentive. They weren't here for the excitement about the technology that, say, one of the alternative layer 1 is offering. So we think in terms of the battle for to be the world's premium primary smart contract platform and to kind of like earn the title of world computer, Ethereum has already won the battle. We are quite bearish on most of the alternative layer 1s. And even that is true. In this cycle, we still think the initial kind of raison d'etre, the reason of existence raised by alternative layer 1 is a valid one, that Ethereum has limited bandwidth, right? The number of transactions Ethereum on layer 1 can support is simply not enough if you truly want to scale up. But it does have the best security among all, simply because the entire network is secured by all those much money. So what we think would be the best is something that is built on top of Ethereum, which will allow it to derive security from Ethereum, making it more secure than any other alternative layer 1, simply because they do not have as large a market capitalization as Ethereum. And take the transactions themselves off chain so that you're able to be faster and cheaper than them. But send the final state back onto Ethereum to make sure that it's finalized. This will allow for a long-term sustainability, and at the same time allowing for accommodating for economic access to Ethereum liquidity, as well as liquid staking derivatives, which we'll talk a little bit later on. So Ethereum, as you know, since the Beacon chain started with proof of stake, it now allows for liquid staking. You're basically able to earn a yield by securing and staking and securing the network. And since the Shanghai upgrade, now you can withdraw that capital. So we think when a rollup is paired with a decentralized sequencer, it makes it resistant to corruption, censorship, MEV attacks. So sequencer is basically a smart contract that decides which transactions to include in a given block. When you have a centralized sequencer, basically people are able to bribe it, maybe because OFAC sends a subpoena, sends a directive to it, and then it will be blocking certain transactions, such as some Tornado Cash mixer kind of type. And then some people they have MEV bots and MEV bots. They would be looking at like on-chain transaction. When they see a large transaction, they would pay more gas fee to get ahead of it so that they can front run your transaction. When we have decentralized sequencer, a lot of these can be resolved more elegantly. So a little bit of cost calculus when it comes to rollup. So I guess kind of like this is like more entry level, but it kind of like is a great analogy. I think would be useful to visualize it. Rollup work like a bar tab. Instead of paying for every single drink you're getting, you pay at the end, but you open a bar tab at front. So this is really just kind of like to reductively explain how a rollup works. This is how it works. Transactions are executed off-chain, meaning off layer 1, but on the layer 2 blockchain itself, and then having their state roots batched, and then have that batch published on layer 1. And when it comes to cost, there's an explosion of layer 2s this year. We launched in July, and there have been a dozen or more after us, and we are pretty sure that as time progresses, especially kind of as we step into the bull run, it will continue. But when we actually look at the layer 2 transactions cost themselves, they're virtually the same all across the board. There's not a lot of difference in terms of the cost between a layer 2 transaction executed on MantleNetwork than, say, Optimism or Arbitrum base. It's virtually all the same. Where the majority of cost is actually incurred when you're publishing on layer 1, because you still need to publish the final root and retrieve data sometimes. And this is where we think we have found a great solution that basically really allows us to stand apart. This is something called EigenDA. So some of you guys may have heard of EigenLayer. It's a restaking protocol built on Ethereum. It allows people to restake their staked ETH. So if you staked your ETH at, say, Rocket Pool, when you get RETH or RETH, or you staked your ETH with, say, Lido, you get staked ETH, or your Coinbase ETH. EigenLayer allows you to restake those receipts of staked capital on them to help secure the network, and then allows other dApps to build on top of it, which means all those new dApps, they do not need to bootstrap liquidity from zero. They already have that pool of Ethereum stakers, allows them to have liquidity and security from day one. EigenLayer has a data availability solution called EigenDA. And it's a specialized data availability layer built to kind of help access, retrieval, and publish data. Instead of publishing onto Ethereum, you can publish onto EigenLayer, EigenDA, which is built by this protocol that pools Ethereum stakers, allowing it to have the same security assumption as Ethereum itself, but at a fraction of the cost, at a sustainable manner, and predictable kind of like cost, because instead of having gas fee go up and down, you are actually spreading out through time, cost averaging it. So now we have come to kind of like the tail end. We kind of like talk a little bit more about kind of what we see, what we are building. So a lot of the tools that we use, they actually we interact with the front end. We don't think too much about the back end. Say, for example, the internet, right? The back end, the protocol is TCP/IP. But when we actually surfing the internet, when we are using different services, we don't actually interact with. We're not actively thinking about it, maybe. And email is actually built on top of 3 protocols, that is SMTP, POP, and IMAP. What we think, what we are trying to build for Web3, for blockchain, for the future of the internet as we know it, is something that's kind of like a modular mesh network of protocols that is based on a modular rollup plus a decentralized sequencer, a separate DA layer, which allows you to have the same security assumption but at a fraction of cost, because you instead of competing for the limited Ethereum blockchain space for data publishing, you're using a specialized tool for it, but the specialized tool is still secured by Ethereum. And account abstraction. Account abstraction, which is something that a lot of people are working on. Basically now, all the wallets can look the same, and then you can, first of all, there's a new paymask function. You can have a protocol pay for the first transactions of a user, which allows for easier onboarding, as well as they can pay any token instead of having to pay, the native gas token of a blockchain, which just makes the experience a lot smoother, allows more kind of like newcomers to interact with the blockchain for the first time. So we think these are like the core protocols that will allow blockchain to truly kind of like scale up to the next level and to welcome the next wave of mass adoption. Of course, these are the backend. What truly will incite people to come is the front end, the application. So, when Apple first built the iPhone, it wasn't doing anything that we were not able to do before. You were able to take photos, you were able to send text messages, email, even before the iPhone. But what it does allow is a great ecosystem onto which you're able to build those applications that we now almost feel like we cannot live without, such as on-demand ride-hailing, on-demand food ordering, delivery, on-demand video, e-commerce, so on and so forth. So at Mantle, what we are trying to do is to build that platform onto which people are able to build the Web3, the decentralized blockchain versions of your Uber, your Netflix, your DoorDash, I guess. That's to help hyperscale blockchain ecosystem. So this is a little bit of like just soft shield at the end. Mantle, our first core product is of course MantleNetwork, a modular blockchain. Just this Monday, so it's actually still Monday in your time zone, presumably, but Tuesday. But for us, we launched Mantle's own staking protocol on Monday, and it's already working. So you can stake ETH to get METH, and it's widely adopted inside of Mantle ecosystem. It's a native sustainable yield built on Ethereum, secured by Ethereum and governed by Mantle. Mantle is since kind of like the launch of the blockchain, it's expanding into providing sustainable native yield, organic yield to users through such as this Ethereum staking protocol, and we also have stablecoin protocols that we work with Ondo Finance to have MUSD, which is a rebasing version of USDY. It's backed by US Treasury bills as well as short-term US bank deposits. So hopefully you guys will find it interesting and take a look at all the different offerings that Mantle has. That brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much. My name is Ignius Tyrannis, or if you will, Nacho in Spanish, and I'm on Twitter at my name at Ignius Tyrannis. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Nacho, for being here and for your presentation. It was like really educational, because you went through like a full way into what are rollups and everything. So very much appreciated that like kind of summary. Very interesting what you're doing at Mantle. What is the focus right now with the apps you're looking like for developers? What is the focus right now to grow the ecosystem?
Yeah, we're always very excited for developers to build on Mantle. So one of the things that we do most is actually to go to different hackathons all around the world. So every time there's Ethereum Global Ethereum Hackathon, DevRel team is there. We are often the second largest blockchain in terms of submission or receipt So basically, vast majority of the submissions goes to Ethereum Foundation, but we are often the second largest recipient. Our DevRel team is legendary in their ability to kind of just really answer questions of developers, and then help support them. We have a great grant program. We have a vibrant ecosystem already with more than 200 dApps built on both mainnet and testnet. And we also have a great eco fund. So it's an ecosystem fund initiated by the Mantle Treasury, supported by external venture partners, some of the biggest names in the space: Dragonfly Capital, we have Spartan, we have Pantera, and Hashkey, Hash, so on and so forth. And it's a $200 million capitalized capital pool. 100 million coming out of Mantle Treasury, 100 million is matched by strategic venture partners. We have already, I think, given out something like 6 or 7 of them. And we have basically a number of verticals that we are over-indexing on, such as yield backed by real-world asset, yield backed by Ethereum proof of stake mechanism. That is how we're working with on those USDY. That is how we worked with Lido to put some of our treasury ETH into Lido, but also our own Mantle LSP that was launched on Monday.
Perfect. So Hero was asking which the apps have been built on Mantle. I think you kind of like go through that, but where can we see like more information about the Mantle ecosystem?
Yeah, you can just go to mantle.xyz/ecosystem. So some of the largest kind of like DEXs on Mantle include Agni, include Fusion X, include KTX, and as of now we have a program called a Mantle Moonshot. It's basically a 4-week sprint interaction, kind of like on-chain interaction. You're able to basically interact with. This week I think it's Agni and KTX. Next week is Izumi, something else. You have simple on-chain transactions. You're going to be able to earn a lot of rewards from the incentive program.
Perfect. So for developers or anyone interested in Mantle Network, you can go there and watch everything. The pages is super complete, like with the documentation and everything. I think it sums up pretty great everything Nacho was telling us about. Solow here also asked, are Mantle Network, I guess, is Mantle Network protecting users from overpaying gas fees?
Yeah, so one of the reason that we even created it is to address kind of like the high gas fee that is incurred on Ethereum, as well as other blockchains, especially during time of high speculation, time of bull run, when everyone is exuberant, and then you would often see just like gas fees going up. What we are seeing on mainnet is that we are already able to offer a steep discount on Ethereum, as well as compared to other layer 2s in terms of gas cost. Of course, like this is not a sprint, it's a marathon, and then we are constantly iterating, constantly improving. As our data availability module works better, presumably the price will come down even more. But as of now, we are already seeing a 70% price discount compared to other blockchains in terms of gas fee.
That is very interesting about modular data availability. I have to research it. And what about fraud proof for Mantle? How is it if someone like maybe tries to make a fraud like commits to the network?
Yeah, so Mantle uses optimistic rollup. So we are currently using the OP tech stack, and then we have the same fraud proof construction as the now.
Perfect. Well, I give some time for the audience like to make their questions. Meanwhile, I'll explain something about like the mechanism of the pop. We make these solo quests that are quests that people have to make that are mainly like to answer a Twitter post, two Twitter posts, and they get the pop like to make something more participative. So I'll share 1 second our Chrome tab. Well, Solow.io. We have our Curso Intro. And here in Intro to MantleNetwork, we have our Solow quest. I'll read it in Spanish because it is in Spanish. Tenemos dos solo quests para hoy. Una es qué significa que Mantle sea una blockchain modular y que nos brinda esa modularidad. Y cuáles son los problemas de escalabilidad que tienen las blockchains monolíticas. Tenemos esas dos preguntas, las responden, nos la envían por mensaje directo y se llevan su POAP. So that's it. You go to Twitter, you do the quest, send it to us via DM, and we'll send you the link to the POAP for this amazing workshop with Nacho here. So let us know if there are any other questions. I have like a couple minutes. I know here is like almost time to eat, but already time to eat. So maybe people are onto that, but we are very thankful for having you here and having everyone in the community know about Mantle. This workshop was recorded, so it will be uploaded on YouTube. Probably a lot of people are going to watch it after also. So thank you very much. I don't know if there is anything you want to add about Mantle, about what is coming.
Oh no, it was just such a thrill to be here. Thank you for having me, Dolores and Solow. Really glad to be sharing this with the community at Solow. As I said, like we are currently working on our liquid staking protocol and to provide native yield to people who interact with Mantle, and really just thrilled to have more people come build on Mantle as well as interact with Mantle and see what it can offer you that is different from everyone else. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. And any questions that might come, if you're watching this later, maybe you can ask in the community. You can follow Nacho. We left your Twitter there. You should follow Mantle also to see the developments they are doing and read the documentation. There are a lot of things there. As Nacho mentioned also, L2Bit is a page we have been using a lot during this course. So be sure to check it out and get out all the doubts. This is a really interesting topic about scalability and what is going to be the future of blockchains like. So be sure like to get your curiosity into that. Rocio is asking, where is the next hackathon? Do you have a builders community?
Yeah, I think the team is in India right now for ETH India. So we're basically like at every ETH event. So this year alone, there was Denver, there was Paris, there was Tokyo, Hong Kong, and there's about 20 others like Belgrade. I was at in Montenegro as well. Yeah, we practically go to every single of those ETH.
You have to
ETH
come to
events.
Argentina.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We'll talk about it later. And do you have a builders community, like a Discord or something that kind?
Yeah, we have both on Discord and Telegram. So on Telegram we have a dedicated dev chat, and on Discord you can just check out kind of the dev tab on Mantle's Discord. It's just 0x Mantle, so it's pretty easy to
Perfect. There it is in the web page, in the official Mantle web page. You can find all the links to its community, careers, Twitter, everything. So I think we're making it to the end. Again, thank you, Nacho, for being here and for participating in Solow Curso Intro Layer 2, Solow Layer 2 course. So thank you so much. And we'll see you next time, maybe with some other updates about Mantle.
Yeah, so thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. Looking forward to come back another session when the time comes. Thank you so much, Doris. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a blast.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Buenas noches. Noches.